Hello everybody, this is Nathan Grayson with Kotaku, and today I'm going to play a bit of a game for you that is called Necropolis. Now, Necropolis just released on Steam, and it's one of the top sellers at the moment. Initially with good reason. If you look at it as a very attractive art style, as you can already see right here, it's got kind of a I guess I would call it like it almost looks cel shaded. It's a little kind of like a dark Wind Waker or something. Yeah, very appealing in that respect. And it's also from Harebrained Schemes, who is behind the recent Shadowrun games. So it's got a really good pedigree, and people were looking very forward to it before it came out. But I have some not great news for you, and that is that it's not great. I'm going to play a little bit of it for you now, just to give you an idea of why I'm not really enamored with this one. So I'm actually pretty far in. It's a roguelike type of game, so if you die, you've got to start all the way over and go through a series of randomized rooms and things of that nature. But, so, complaint number one. On my second playthrough, I just didn't die. I played for like 3 hours and never died. It's not a very hard game. So I'm going to go ahead and restart, just because I don't want to spoil things, even though they don't really change very much in the later game. Discard all progress. So you can pick your character to an extent. There's limited customization. You can be a dude or a lady, and you can sort of pick their color too, and that gives them a different, I guess, background of sorts. It's, whoop-de-doo. I'm gonna be purple. I think that's what a true adventurer looks like. Abraxas sounds like a cleaning fluid. The navel of the world. And also the place he did his laundry. So that's already one thing. This game has this really alluring kind of mysterious look to it. But it toes this strange line between trying to be serious and full of, lore that seems initially intriguing, and kind of humor that doesn't really go well with it. I mean, some of it's funny, but just the overall tone is so strangely incongruous. And I'm all for games not being quite so self-serious, but in this one, it just it gets distracting, as you'll doubtless see as we go on. So yeah, here's the big wall O controls. Here's how to do things. I'm using the controller. You can run around and jump, and you've got two different forms of, basically your various weapons are mapped to the bumpers. So I can slash my sword that way. I can pull the trigger for a really big slash. Pro tip, just never use the big slashes. They're kind of worthless. They're just slow. There's not really any enemy in the game you can't fell by using a smaller one. You've got a stamina meter. It slowly runs down the more that you attack. And it'll refill, but only up to a point. So you've got to eat food and rations, which you can craft. So, with all that out of the way, let's delve into the first floor. Where are my feet? That's a very good question. So yeah, skeletons. You can dodge and block. And see, already, the impact of hits is so very unsatisfying. There we go, killed some skeletons. The initial swords they drop are basically worthless, so I'm just not even going to bother with picking those up. Break some pots. As you can see, it's going for kind of a Dark Souls-y vibe, and the combat's slow, and it's based a lot in dodging and avoidance. It's all, familiar in that respect. And so, yeah, as you explore the dungeon, you get these little quests from His Majesty, the Brazen Head. And they usually just have to do with, like, little kind of, you know, tasks that you do anyway. So collecting and using things. But they get you a special additional currency you can use to get really powerful items. And also buy things from this haggard crone. Not really sure what this person is, but you know. Oh, old man. Okay, never mind. Not a crone. But yeah, you know, just basic stuff. Food. Scrolls for identifying items instead of just like, for instance, you can, when I was first playing, you know, I decided to try out all the potions because that was a quest. And my character just started puking everywhere, so there are times when it may not necessarily be in your best interest to experiment. But yeah, so onward, inward, into this first room. So this guy's going to be a problem until I get a more powerful or faster weapon because he's pretty quick. But not too much of a problem. Again, like, on my first playthrough, I didn't last long. But once you figure out the enemy attack patterns, which really aren't very complicated at all, it becomes kind of a cakewalk. Like, none of these things individually pose much of a threat. And they often band together in large groups, but you can just kite them. You can kite them, like, all over the place. Let's see. Screamer Blade's decent. It's faster. I'll use it for now. Although, generally speaking, I found that big weapons are better in this game, because you get knockdowns and stuns off of them. And that's really good for crowd control. And when you're, again, this game likes to throw enemies at you in large crowds. So, generally speaking, your best bet is to have a degree of control over them. Thus, crowd control. I just explained a very basic video game concept to you. I'm sorry. So, okay, onward and forward into here. Hey, look, it's a cool, creepy statue. How you doing, guy? More statues. Nothing really going on in here. Ah, one of these things. They're kind of like alarms. Or wait, no, that's not the alarm type. That's the bomb type. That enemy to run up to me would have blown up, and I would have been in a degree of trouble. I mean, I wouldn't have taken a ton of damage. There's some dudes. It's hanging out. I want to point out, they're like undead dudes, and they're hanging out in a pile of skeletons. It's got to be a little bit weird for them. Like, which skeletons get to be alive and which ones get to be dead. What are the rules here in this necropolis? Hey there. Nope. None for you. But see, enemies are really, really stupid. Just like, real dumb. They attack in straight lines. They don't vary their attack pattern when you're avoiding them. These guys are kind of a pain because they have ranged attacks, but even then, whatever. Yeah, lay off. And they even hit each other, which, like, it's initially kind of funny, but then it's just like, really? You guys couldn't make enemies smart enough to even not do your job for you? Or I should say the player's job, obviously. Yeah, I got some stuff. Oh, hey there. Nope. Okay, so now would be a good time to eat a health item, just because I'm, you know, getting a little bit low. Big old piece of meat. Video games. And yeah, any given moment, you notice that I'm collecting all of this ichor and stuff, which, you know, sounds delicious, right? Like, you hear the word ichor, or however you pronounce that, and it's like, all right, when's it time for eating? When is it going on the old barbecue? So yeah, you can use all that stuff to make food. Like, I usually go with iron rations just because they don't really take much in the way of supplies, and they kind of maximize what you actually get for your supply usage. Hey there. Oh, I feel kind of bad. It was like he was mourning the dead ones. Maybe it was their tiny, like, scarab dog. I don't feel that bad, though. Another old man in a hallway. He's upset with me. Now he's just dead. And I'm going to eat his flesh later. Hey, guys. Nope. So yeah, now here's the first instance of, like, the game really sending a crowd after me. But again, they just all stop and start hitting each other. It's like you're fighting the 3 or more, like, 16 stooges. And also they're all old men. Like, is that not the least formidable idea for video game enemies you've ever heard of? And then there are also these guys, which are being attacked by... I guess they're not friends. I guess the forces in the Necropolis are not all on the same side, and that's actually true. I've encountered enemies later in the game that were definitely intentionally fighting. But, you know, just like... I guess that's neat, but it doesn't really... It makes an already easy game even easier. And it's really weird to me, too, because on the Steam page for this game, it's billed as, like, a really challenging, hardcore, permadeath roguelike, where you're gonna die a bunch of times and start over and over, and slowly but surely improve your... how many floors down you make it into the Necropolis, which unto itself is, like, this big, intimidating word. But straight up, I did one playthrough and died. And then on my second playthrough, I just never died. And after I played for about 3 hours, I found myself very bored. And it was also late, so I was falling asleep. And so I quit out of the game, and I already had 60% of the game's achievements. Which means there's also not really much in it. Actually, taking some damage. I'm going to go eat. This thing probably won't mind. Hello there again. And yeah, I'm going to get the cool glowy sword because who doesn't want one of those, right? Also, they're handy. Like, you can... the glowy sword has kind of a paralyzing effect. So you can be like, blah! You get the Nito lightning attack. But again, there are elements in this game that look so neat. Like, the art direction is just cool. Look at that. I'm this pointy-ass lady with a pointy green glowy lightsaber sword and a shield with a cool, again, glowy face on it. Like, that's neat. It all looks neat. And it's all, I don't know, mysterious and cool looking here. I only know, like, 3 adjectives, apparently. But it just... what you do is not that interesting. And it never gets more interesting either. That's the thing. Like, as you proceed through this place, as you go down more and more floors, it just kind of stays like this. I mean, there's like, I reached a neat swamp area, but the enemies did not really fight in interesting ways. And I just sort of plowed through it like I did the rest of this game. It just, yeah, it's not, there's not really much going on. I mean, I should add that there is a co-op mode, but all that means is that you get to do the same pretty boring stuff, but, you know, with more people. And that does tend to make certain types of games more fun and interesting, but only up to a point. And if the game itself is fundamentally uninteresting, then even if you're with a bunch of other people, it's not going to take very long before you're all like, okay, well, now we're just bored together. Neat, I got a better shield. I'm like, yeah, some of the loot looks cool, and it does cool things, and it has neat effects, and it's just like, I'm very frustrated by this game, not because it's hard, but because it feels like it could have been so so much more, and instead they just released it as this. Like, I don't really get it, especially coming from Harebrained Schemes, who make really good games. Like, Shadowrun is not even the only good series they've done. This just seems like a really big misstep for them. Just a swing and an absolute miss. I've already been there. Yeah, in addition to other things, places start looking pretty samey really quickly, so it's easy to get turned around and be like, where am I supposed to be going now? Here we go. I don't think I've been in here yet. Hey there, tiny friend. Yeah, you'll get over it. Here's a dude hanging out with his good friend. Some rocks. Scream at me. Be angry about my presence in your house. Just gonna drink an unknown potion. Fuck it. I feel insubstantial. Ooh, I'm invisible now. Hey guys. Can they even hit me? Oh, they can't, but I can't hit them either. That's funny. But I got some bone matter. I mean, that's all I'm really here for anyway. Okay, well this is... There we go. Back to the world of the living. Ow, that hurt. You dick. Oh yeah, while we're on the subject of combat, I guess you can lock on, kind of in a Zelda-esque fashion, where, you know, you sort of stay locked onto them and move relative to where they are. That said, it's a weird feature. Again, this game just feels not well thought out. Like, if you're going to design most of your encounters such that there are tons of enemies, then why would you ever use that lock-on targeting? It's just a bad idea. You will quickly get surrounded and overwhelmed. So why do that in the first place? It feels like there were supposed to be big central enemies or bosses or something that you'd be locking onto, if nothing else than like while dealing with all of these ads. But there aren't. So far as I played, I've not encountered a single boss or boss-like creature. Just regular bargain bin, boring ass enemies. And slabs of meat that I can eat. Want to see me vomit? Here, let's do throwing up. That's amusing. Wait, first I'm gonna kill this guy. Nope. Come on now. There we go. He's dead. Okay, so one piece of rotten meat is, you know, already enough, apparently. Sometimes I think I remember not vomiting after eating one the last time, but this time my person is just like, nah, I'm not feeling it today. So I'm going to eat another because I still need more health. Yeah, see? She didn't throw up that time. Good job. Intestinal fortitude. Okay, into the next room. Okay, so this is going to be the first time we go down a floor. The big gym doors are ones that mean you've reached kind of like a mid-area. So now I can talk to the old salesperson who I'm surprised doesn't stand up and say, "What are you buying?" And I can also go over to this big, nice-looking statue, and if I have enough money, I can increase my health. And I do. So there we go. I'm now hardier, and yes, apparently lenders are more likely to give me credit, which is, once again, one of those moments where the game tries to inject some humor into the proceedings, and, like, you know, there's a little bit of a chuckle to be had there. But because of those bits of humor, I just never really feel like I'm getting into the lore of this world. It's tough to tell if there even is actual lore, if it's all just kind of a framework to, you know, make fun of these things, or to lightly make fun of them. But if so, then all this game has is, it doesn't really go all in on either. So it neither is a big pastiche of the typical kind of world building you get in these games, which, you know, is very obtuse and, like, full of intrigue, but also ends up, at least in the case of, like, Dark Souls, being pretty good in the end. So it's not a pastiche of that, nor is it an actual attempt at that. It just feels like most of this game insubstantial. Like, here's this big cool thing. What does it mean? I don't know. This guy's not really saying. And maybe there's like a larger mystery to these things. There probably is. There's probably something going on. And who knows? Maybe it's interesting. But the rest of the game is so just not that it's hard for me to care enough to delve into any of it. But yeah. So went upstairs, saw the big crystal thing. Now I'm going to head back down and then go down a floor. Going down a floor is actually one of the cooler moments in the game. It just looks neat and big and imposing. Alright, down we go. So yeah, we've got like the ceiling of this, and you look down and you can kind of see the level you're going to be going through. And it's like a big old city and all this other stuff, and you can see a sky. Like, look at that. That's so cool. But it just facilitates more of the same. Like, I'm just going to play a bit more because I think you've already mostly got the point. But yeah, I'll get a neat weapon because I've got one of those tokens. This sword is, what tier is it? Well, it's a tier 1, and the current thing I'm using, I think, is a tier 0. Also, that's kind of funny. That bastard sword, get it? Instead of a bastard sword, it just belonged to an awful person. That's a solid gag. I like that. But yeah, let's see. Is this a... Okay, so this is a slightly slower one. It may have some knockback and some of those other properties that I was so big into. I'm going to go ahead and craft this really quickly. Because meat is made in a vial. Okay. Onward through the cow door. Hey there, guys. Nope. And he's done. I don't really want any more rotten food. It's not like I need it. Hey there. You're gonna be dead soon. Now you're dead. You're fast, but I don't care because you don't hit hard. You scream a bunch, but I don't care about that either. Ow, okay, that's mean. So this big red crystal thing can pose some interesting problems. You get like these tough enemies out of them that you've got to fight for the crystal to be destroyed. But I guess they're not training on me right now, so that's kind of a good thing. Oh yes, they are. Hello. See, it's got a crossbow. Wow, I one-shotted that. I was not expecting that to be quite so effortless. Maybe they just really don't take well to bastards. Okay, you're being annoying. Don't shoot me from far away. Hello there, you're done. And that's it for the big crystal thing. What was the significance of the crystal thing? I have no idea. I guess it looked kind of neat, though. Here are some boxes I can climb. It's kind of neat, right? Like, there's verticality to the level design, which you don't often get in these kinds of games. But it doesn't really go anywhere. There's not really a point to climbing up here. You can, and I guess that's neat. And I guess it's sort of a pathway around enemies, but why would you want to go around them when they're easy to fight and they give you loot? Again, just like, why? So many of the things that this game makes me think are just, why? Why did you make this way when there's no point to it? When there's not really a good reason or a good mechanical reason for it? When your enemy design doesn't necessitate it? Like, it's just upsetting. Hello there. More people. I'll hit this guy. It's a fire dude. Who again looks neat but isn't very powerful. Another dude bites the dust. Two screaming guys that I can smash. Avoid you, smash you. Yeah. What a rollicking time that was. Then I just go into the next room, and here's some stuff on the ground, and I can hit the pots and break the pots and open the door and really just use some good time to ponder the significance of my meager existence, my purpose in the universe, playing this video game that just really doesn't have much going for it, and nothing really happens. Here's the big dude without a head. He is, despite his opposing stature, one of the easiest things in the whole game to fight because he can't even touch you. Yep, keep walking at me, and then you're dead. You will. And here's another guy who showed up for reasons. He's dead. Like, I imagine you can hear the complete and utter disinterest in my voice, and that's because I am completely and utterly disinterested. And the reason I'm showing you this game is because it's really popular right now on Steam, but even there, it's just like super mixed reviews. And I can't help but feel like the people who have been saying they like it really want to like it, to the point where like they've found reasons to tell themselves they like it. But it's really just not interesting. And like, I guess I could stay here and fight all these guys. Well, I'll do it because they're making themselves really easy to hit right now. But it's not like it's even really going to be worth my time. Kind of like most of this game. Oh shit, I actually died. That rarely happens to me. In this game, anyway. Yeah, I actually agree with the what it's saying right now. That was pretty unskilled of me. Well, this is a good chance to show you how it tends to end, or what it looks like when it ends. So yeah, then it like tells you the level that you reached and what you explored and how many people you killed, and you can unlock costume dyes and, you know, all that good stuff. And it even gives you more tokens of favor. And these things, the weapons you can unlock with them are so absurdly powerful that you essentially become indestructible. In my previous game, I had this big red sword, and it would either one or two shot basically everything that I encountered. So I just run around, swing my sword, and keep walking. And yeah, I mean, the only way you die in this game is if you get, like, real sloppy, like I just did. Like, not just a little bit sloppy. You can afford to be a little bit sloppy. Yeah. So that's Necropolis. It's just not very interesting. It has a cool art style. It's got a few cool ideas. I think the idea of a very Souls-inspired roguelike game is cool, but this just isn't it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.